Hi guys, so in this part of the tutorial we're going to be going over the features section, which is the first option in the menu. And here, if we have a look at the design, we have two text boxes with an image inside. We have another text box here, and we have what I'm gonna use the Soul Sections block for these sections here, because I want this to sort of animate and pop up when somebody kind of scrolls to the bottom of this, down to the bottom of this part of the site. You can of course use image blocks if you want to, but I'm going to be using this the Soul Sections block for now. So let's head over to Headway. Since since the last tutorial, Headway has been updated and WordPress has been updated. WordPress is now 4.0 and I think Headway is 3.7.10, though there seems to be a bug in particular with the Headway 3.7.10 with the navigation. It seems to always show home all the time, and there's no way around that other than some CSS code that I think somebody has added in the support forums. I'm not, for the sake of this tutorial, going to do that right now. I'm not going to try to fix this because I think that the new version that's coming out soon will hopefully get rid of this, and I don't want, you know, random bits of code lying around and I'll forget about it. So I'm just going to leave that in there. It's not really bugging anyone for now. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to show you another feature that has been added to the new Headway. It's pretty easy, this feature as well, in terms of like what it's a time saver really. So for instance, this Cell Sections block, I can now right click and I can duplicate this block if I need to, and it has all the styling and options for this block, and I can go in there and I can edit that block if I need to, and you know, just do what I need to within that block. It's super easy in terms of, well, not super easy, but it just saves us a ton of time, which is always good. So as I was saying, we're going to be adding this feature here today, and this will be the feature section. I will be going over how we click the features button in the menu item and how that will scroll over to this section as well. Okay, so let's start off by adding a wrapper. I'm going to call this wrapper features. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to change this to a fluid wrapper. Let me just get a bit of space here. So I'm going to draw out a text box. And the first thing I'm going to do is add the image. So I'm going to go over to the insert image icon here, and I'm going to upload this now from my desktop. So now that's in, I'm going to now add the word interactive. I'm going to make sure that that is a H3 tag. Let's drop that down. I'm going to now add the text from here. So let's copy and paste that in there like that. Okay. And now I'm going to right click and duplicate this block, move it over here, open the block options, and I'm going to change this image to another image. So let's just do that now. I'm going to choose this icon, and I think this is called collaborative. How do you spell collaborative? Okay. Collaborative. Okay, so now we have our two text boxes here. I'm going to call this one features collab. Actually, this one's features collab, isn't it? So let's say features collab. Okay, and this one is features interactive. So let's press save. What I've noticed as well is this block, yeah, I think that's actually fine. Let's have a look and see what it looks like in the browser for now. Okay, so now let's have a look at the site. and we have interactive and collab easily in there. So let's go back into Headway, the grid editor, and let me just close all the other tabs. And the next thing we need to do is add a text block underneath all of this. So let me make a little bit of room here. Actually, I'm going to close these up because it doesn't really matter how high these are. And I'm going to make another text block. And let's see what it says. Simple. Looking it just with one eye. The English is amazing, but I am going to use this English just for the sake of it because I think it's quite funny. I'm going to keep that in there, and I'm going to give this a H2 tag. I'm going to center it. And we have this additional text underneath. Now, one thing we can do is, actually no, that's fine. We'll just leave that like that. Let's go back here. I'm going to go to the editor here and paste that in as plain text and make sure that that is centered as well. So let's press save and view the site. Okay, so now we've got this section in. Next, we want to add the sole section block for these three images. Now, originally I was thinking about just adding one sole sections block and adding different images within that sole sections block, but I need complete control over how each of these images are, like what position they are, whether they're left or right or centered, and I can't do that by adding one sole sections block, so I'm going to have to add three here. So I'm going to add one here. I think this is like 376, but yeah, 376 pixels. And the breakpoint and selection settings, I'm going to call this the left mobile, and I'm going to add the image. Okay, let me upload it from my desktop. Sure it's that one. Okay, I'm going to take a note of its width, which is 308 pixels here. So let's use this image, and I'm going to give it a roll from the left, and it's going to take 1 second for it. What was the size again? I forgot. 308. Okay, so let's go to the above breakpoint and make sure that this is selected to image only, and 308 pixels, and we want that aligned to the right. I want to give this 100% width down here in the image controls options. So let's press save and see what that looks like. If we refresh, there we go, our image comes in nicely. So now let's add another sole sections block, and we're going to do the same. So this will be the centered mobile, center mobile, and let's choose the image, upload files, select files, and which one is the centered one? Let's have a look. It's got the sign in, so let's use this one, and take note of the 366 is the width. Fading up, 1 second, above breakpoint, image only. My memory is so bad. 366 pixels, I think it was. And 100%, and that's okay for it to be centered. Let's add another block. and that's going to align to the left. Let's press save and have a look and see what we have here. Okay, so that's quite cool. I'm thinking maybe I should make the effect last a little bit longer. So maybe if I have it at 2 seconds for the right one and 2 seconds for the left one, and let's see. And the middle one can take 1.5 seconds. No, 2.5 seconds. Okay, let's go to here and see what that looks like. Okay, so this one comes up faster, and this one kind of takes its time coming in, but you can see it looks quite nice. Looks very nice indeed. I think we've put in all the information, but one thing we need to check on is whether it looks good when it's responsive. So let's have a look at this option now. What happens to the phones when they go responsive? So that's fine. That looks cool. Exactly how we want it, actually. It's perfect. So let's go to the design mode now, and actually let's save this snapshot. So let's press save snapshot and call this one features grid mode. So we know this is the part where we haven't added any additional styling or anything. So let me save that and go over to grid mode. Okay, so now we are in design mode. Let's take the tour off here. We don't need to see that. If we scroll down and have a look at what we have, that's cool. First thing we need to do is add a background color to the wrapper. So let's head over to Fireworks and get this color in our... Okay. I'm going to right click on the wrapper, edit this instance, get rid of that, and just add a background color here. Nice. Let's go back to Fireworks and have a look. We've got a bit of padding here as well on the top. So from the right to the top here, that's about 136 padding. Let's just round it up to 140. So let's go to padding, 140. Oops, that was way too much. Okay, and I think we'll do the same for the bottom so it looks even, 140. Now that may look too much. It's funny because I could get away with it being smaller than that, so I'm gonna go with 100. Okay. Now we have to figure out what colors or what sizes these are. These are 36 pixels. So I'm going to right click on interactive heading and I'm going to change the color to white, and I'm going to round that up to 40 pixels. Actually no, 36 is fine. Okay, so now I'm going to press Ctrl and C on my keyboard to copy that styling, and then I'm going to right click on the collab section and then I'm going to paste, and that's going to copy the styling from there as well. Cool. Okay, so now the text, what we need to do is change these to white as well and give it some line height. So I usually go with 180. The text seems to be a 20. Okay, so again we can right click and copy, go over to the next one and paste. Okay, so now we have to make a gap between simple looking and these two text boxes. So I'm going to right click on the text block, make sure I get the text block itself and not the heading section, as you could see. So I'm going to Parents and Text Block, edit this instance. So now it's controlling the whole text block, and I'm going to give it a little bit of margin on the top, maybe of 40 pixels from the top. And I'm also going to give it maybe 40 pixels from the bottom as well. So let's have a look at how big this is. This is 47 pixels. So right click on the heading. I'm going to change the color to white and change the text size to 47. And with the text, well, we have to change that, I guess, to 22, it says. Line height 180. And the color, I'll have that on white. My issue, I think, is with this heading. There's a bit too much padding here, or margin. Let's get rid of that margin. And yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So I'm going to press save for now, just in case my computer decides to crash. And we've practically done this section. So let's press View Site. Scroll down. Now we've got that section. It looks really nice. One other thing I wanted to do was make sure that we have this features. When we click on features, it should scroll down to this section here. Yeah. So how we can do that is, if we go back to the text block here, I'm going to press Open Block Options, and I'm going to go to the Config section. And here I'm going to put in a little bit of HTML, which is going to allow us to connect all the dots, so to speak. So let me show you what that is. Okay, so first of all we do an open bracket, and we do the A tag, and then we do the ID tag, and we do the equal sign, quotation marks, and we put in features, and then we're going to close this like that. Okay, so it's A ID equals features, and then we close. So let's press save, and let's head over to the browser here and refresh. Now when we click on features, it takes us to the feature section. The only problem with this bit though is that it's going over the text, so we need it to be round about here really, and we can change those options in in WordPress. So let's head over to the dashboard, hover over to settings and then ESSL settings, and we can add a default here. So I'm going to add a default of 200. I'm going to press save. This is just a guess, mind you, I don't really know exactly whether that would work. Let's go back to the site and press features and there, it sits right on top. We can get it to sort of go over like that, but I kind of like the fact that it's got that background still there. It's kind of cute, so I'm going to leave it like that for now, I think. Let's have a look and see what this looks like responsive. Let me close this down, and there we go. Now my only issue is I think that everything really should be centered, so I'm going to go back into the blog index here, and I'm going to go into, let's see, I'm going to go into the grid mode, and with the, let's see, let me go to the resize tool, resize it to mobile. Okay, so first of all, I want to make this text centered. I'll go to the blog index, open block options. Below the breakpoint, I want it to be centered here. Let's press save and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, that's centered. Okay, the same with this section here. Let's scroll down. Open block options, below breakpoint, I want you to be centered. Let's press save, and refresh, and now that's all centered. Again, in this section here, I want all of this area to be centered, so I'm actually going to center the whole wrapper instead. So I'm going to right click on the wrapper, open wrapper options, I'm going to scroll to responsive, and then when it gets to 600 pixels, I want to attempt to center all items. Let's press save and refresh, and as you can see now, all the items have been centered. Okay, so that's all cool. That's the end of this part of the tutorial. I think the next part is the is this section here, creativity for everyone, where we've got these icons. I'm going to show you how to install these icons and how to add this section here as well, which will be fun. So we don't really have that many sections to go, maybe about 4 or 5 sections to go. So I'm very glad that you've all tuned in and you have all enjoyed this tutorial. It's taking me a little time to do because originally I had already pre-recorded this tutorial, but then I realized that I did a few mistakes and I wanted to make sure that I did it properly instead of just, you know, putting it out there with all these different mistakes and different ways that were just making the process even longer. So thank you for staying tuned. I'm going to release out another video either today or in the next couple of days, so stay tuned and I'll see you on the other side. Bye.